Assalamu alaikum. The Lahore Ahmadiyya community welcomes you to its series of broadcasts entitled The Call of the Messiah. And today we are going to look at an open notification that an advertisement that the promised Messiah issued. And it shows his deep concern for disunity in the Muslim Ummah. Remember that he and the Lahore Ahmadiyya community believe that the Holy Prophet Muhammad was the very last prophet after whom no prophet can come, an old one or a new one. In the same way, we believe that Hazrat Mirza Ghulam Ahmad was a reformer whom the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam addressed as the Messiah and Mahdi. And this is what Hazrat Maulana Nuruddin Sahib, the first head of the community, had inscribed on his tombstone. Mirza Ghulam Ahmad, Rais-e-Qadian, reformer of the 14th century, the promised Messiah and Mahdi. And it remained there on that tombstone for a long time, showing that the whole Jamaat believed that Hazrat Sahib was only a reformer and not a prophet. There are, of course, differences on various issues with our brothers who are not members of this Jamaat, such as the fact that the first thing is that we believe that the Holy Prophet was the last prophet, after whom no prophet can come, an old one or a new one. But our brothers believe that Jesus will come again, and he will guide Muslims to the right path. We believe that the Holy Quran is complete. They believe that some verses have been missed out from the Holy Quran. We believe the Holy Quran is perfect. They believe that some verses of the Holy Quran are abrogated. And then they take that belief to abrogate verses in the Holy Quran that advocate peace and thereby give rise to extremism and help extremists go around kill non-Muslims. They believe that when the Holy Prophet Muhammad took Hazrat Aisha into marriage, she was 6 years old. We believe that, and we have shown this and proven this conclusively, we don't just make these beliefs up, that she was at least 18, that probably 21, working back from her date of death, which is certain. He died on this day, and so many years before that, this happened. And then so many years before that, something else happened. And so on. Because, of course, there is no register of births that gives Hazrat Aisha's age at the time of her marriage. And all through his life, the promised Messiah tried to create peace, not only between different Muslim sects, but also between different religions. And this is one such attempt. So let us have a look at it. I will show you the original Urdu, and then I will translate it as I go along. If you just give me 1 second, I'll load the original Urdu. Now you can see this. It is, of course, in Urdu and not in English. Actually, I'll go back because you can read it on the screen yourself for now. Now, before I start, you can see that this is Majmua Ishtaharat, a compendium of his advertisements or posters, volume 3, page 179. And this is Ishtahar or poster or handbill number 242. I have a book here. This is the latest edition that I'm showing you on the screen. Here is a book which I have in paper format, and you can see that the same advertisement on this As-Sulah Khair is on a different page, 398. Now, I mention this for this reason, that at another time, I mentioned a page number and someone objected that they went to that page number and the text I mentioned wasn't there. Although, as I pointed out, I was showing the thing on the screen. And what happens is when different editions are printed, then changes are made to improve presentation, readability, and so on. For example, here, line spacing is bigger than line spacing in the paper book that I have. And that changes page numbers. So that is why sometimes you have to look for these things. In fact, when I downloaded the latest edition and went to the page number, I couldn't find it, and I had to look for the thing. But anyway, let's carry on with what the advertisement was. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Nahmaduhu wa nusalli ala Rasulil Kareem. The title is As-Sulahu Khair. Blessed peace. O scholars of my people who call me a liar and a heretic, or who are in doubt about me, today it occurred to me again that I should present to you another petition for reconciliation. And by reconciliation, I do not mean that I should force you gentlemen to adopt my beliefs. or that about my own belief and about its understanding make some addition or detraction into what God has given me to understand. On the contrary, here by reconciliation, I mean that the parties make a binding promise that they and all those people who are under their influence will avoid every kind of bad language. Footnote: in harsh language, it will be included that one party uses for the other party the words Dajjal or Antichrist or dishonest or transgressor, but to say that they are wrong in what they say, or they have made a mistake in what they say, that will not be included in the definition of bad language or harsh language. And in any writing or speech or even hint at the honor of the opposing party. And if either one from a party goes to the meeting of the other party, then as manners and civility demands, the other party will treat him well. It is obvious that eventually, because of the principle and the manners through which one party spreads throughout the world, they bring others to them as well. Just as today we see Hanafi and Shafi and Maliki and Hanbali, despite their grave differences, the differences which mean that even the holy land of Makkah does not gather them on a united place for prayer. They contact and meet each other. But the virtue is that when there is a sect from among you, then at its very beginning, you deal with them with good manners. Whom God wants to destroy is destroyed. Human effort can do nothing. If this organization is not from God, then it will be destroyed of itself. But if it is from God, then no enemy can destroy it. Thus, to insult and humiliate just because an organization is small in numbers is against piety and righteousness. This is the time for our opposing scholars to show their character. For as when the Ahmadi sect has spreads throughout the world and is in millions, and from every social group, ordinary people, and some in authority join it, as God has promised. Then at that time, this hatred and this malice, which is in people's hearts, will automatically disappear. But at that time, that decency and civil treatment will not be for Allah's sake. At that time, if the opposing scholars adopt softness and gentleness, it will not be considered to be because of their piety. Today is the day for them to show piety. When this sect does not have more than a few thousand members in the whole world, I have arranged it so that from my organization, no person, either through writing or speaking, will publish anything with the intention of humiliating or insulting your esteemed selves. And that arrangement will fully come into effect when you gentlemen also issue an advertisement with the same text that you are responsible for this promise that you yourselves, and in addition, those people who are under your influence or considered to be under your influence, will refrain from every kind of bad language and insult and taunts. And through this new agreement between us, we will see which party is unjust. This does not bar you, gentlemen, from writing in a civil, for refuting us in a civil manner. Neither do we give up this right. However, it will be incumbent upon both that they close their mouths so far as abuse and bad language is concerned. I'll be very happy when I receive a public notification from you, gentlemen, and from that date immediately, all these matters will be implemented. In practice, there is no better way of removing disunity. In future, whichever group Allah supports, that will begin to predominate. In the world, truth is like a seed which gradually takes the form of a mighty tree which bears fruit and which bears flowers. And the birds seeking truth, they rest on that tree. They rest under that tree. Footnote: it is essential that this reconciliation lasts for at least 3 years. And so that there is no mistake in the length of time. This reconciliation's first date is set at 1st of April 1901. For I don't know when, after mutual consultation and signatures, which should not be of less than 5 of your scholars, you will issue a notification in reply. Mirza Ghulam Ahmad of Qadian, 5th of March 1901. And then there is some historic detail. So you can see that this is in March 1901. And I find it difficult to believe that Hazrat Sahib makes this announcement in March, and then in May he makes a further announcement which actually has the opposite effect, which increases the dissension and disagreement and disunity amongst the Muslims of India. Throughout his life, you can see that Hazrat Sahib is offering a voluntary agreement to stop hate speech, to bring Muslims together. Hazrat Sahib also wrote to the Viceroy of India and requested that legislation is enacted which stops followers of different religions from abusing each other. He said, talk to each other, but in a civil language. Talk to each other, but to reduce dissension and disagreement. And he proposes this voluntary agreement between the Muslims to do the same thing. As he said, a time will come when the Ahmadiyya sect will spread throughout the world. And there'll be hundreds of thousands, maybe even millions across the world. And he also said in this advertisement that whomsoever God wishes will predominate. And we now see in the West, our brothers are adopting exactly the same interpretations and beliefs that Hazrat Mirza Sahib presented 150 years ago. Let's take the example of jihad. When Hazrat Sahib said, it is not jihad that you take a gun and you go out into the street looking for a white person, and if you see one, then without asking anything, you just shoot him dead. For all you know, he could be a Muslim. You don't know he's British. He might be French or German or American or whatever. But you shoot him dead. Why? And he was called a heretic and a bootlicker of the British and God knows what else. But I'll share with you an incident that took place at the Shah Jahan Mosque in Woking, which is the oldest mosque in the UK, the oldest purpose-built mosque in the UK. When the British Army regiment, which served in Iraq, returned to the UK, to their base, which is near Woking, they were invited to a dinner by the people running the Woking Mosque, Shah Jahan Mosque in Woking, and prayers of thankfulness was said to Allah that it brought those people back alive. Where had they been? They had been in Iraq. And what were they doing in Iraq? Was it Saddam Hussein's walima? Was it his son's walima? Was it a day out? Was it a party? No. They had invaded a Muslim country and they had invaded and destroyed a Muslim country and killed Muslims, Sunni and Shia alike. And these people who accused Hazrat Mirza Ghulam Ahmad of being a British agent simply for saying it's not jihad to go and kill people on random. They undertook this venture. I see, I'm told my time is over. So I take my leave of you. Our next broadcast in English will be at 19:30 UK time tomorrow. And with the prayer that until we meet again, Allah keeps all of you safe and sound and free from harm. Assalamu alaikum, Khuda Hafiz, and goodbye.